Hey guys, welcome to the Thursday night best bets preview. In this video, I'm going to go through my best bet in the Storm Broncos game and my best bet in the AFL in the Adelaide Melbourne game. I will start with the NRL though. Storm Broncos. This should be a pretty good game. Some big ins for the Storm with Jerome Hughes and Cam Munster both coming back into the lineup. And those factors, along with what I covered in the weekly preview of the betting trends video, the fact that the Storm have such a good record over the Broncos, winning 14 of the past 15 head-to-head. The only loss was at the end of last season in the finals, where the Broncos won at Suncorp 26-0. But the Storm did win both regular season games by fairly big margins. So for this game, I'm going to take the Melbourne Storm -5.5. I'm buying it down 1 point to 6.5 at most places. I'm taking $1.79 for the 5.5, so getting on the right side of that key number. I think at the plus 6.5, the bookies are kind of begging you a little bit to take the Broncos at that number. So I definitely just want to play it slightly safer, -5.5. For the Storm to win by. I was also tossing up the Storm to lead at halftime and full time, which pays about $1.95 as the other option for this game. When we look at the statistics, so here you're looking at the 2024 season stats. So this is all updated for the current season. You'll notice that Brisbane's attacking numbers are fairly significantly better than the Storms. But when you look through the games that they've played so far this season, the Storm have played Penrith in the opening round, which they won 8-0, so a low-scoring game, but were able to hold the Panthers 2-0. Then they played the Warriors, who they won that game by 4 points with a couple of late tries. Obviously, everyone heard about that. Those two sides, Penrith and the Warriors, are both top 4 defenses this season. If I bring up the power rankings over here, you can see that currently the Panthers are the number 2 ranked defense, and in points conceded, and the Warriors are ranked 4th in that category. So aside from the Storm themselves, those other two are two of the next best 3. And then the other game against the Knights, where they lost by 2 points, now down 14-0 at halftime in that game. But they were without both their halves in that matchup. So you can definitely understand the lower scoring performances. So that kind of makes sense of, why the Storm attacking numbers aren't that great. But they've been performing well on the back of their number 1 ranked defense this season. So going up against the Broncos attack, which generally is a lot worse on the road than it is at home at Suncorp, I think they'll be able to limit the Broncos scoring as they've previously done in past seasons. So confident Storm win this game. Hopefully they're able to cover the line of -5.5, as that's going to be the bet in this matchup. And just to quickly touch on the Broncos' performances so far, they racked up 28 points against the Rabbitohs and got blown out by the Panthers, only scoring 12 points in that game, and then racked up 38 points last week against the Cowboys. Now, if we come back over to those rankings, which I should have had up still, we'll look at the defense. Cowboys are ranked 14th in points conceded, and the Rabbitohs ranked 16th. Those games where the Broncos did score higher points were against 2 of the bottom 4 defensive sides in the competition. So kind of like it adds more merit to the Storm's performances and less to the Broncos this season. So Storm -5.5. Then over in the AFL, Adelaide take on Melbourne. This is still looking at last season's statistics after round 4. This will be updated because every team will have played 4 games to start the season. But this year, Melbourne have definitely exceeded expectations. Their defense is still really strong. They're capable of scoring as well, whereas the Crows have really, really struggled. So how I was kind of considering playing this game was looking at Melbourne to cover, but with the spread going up to -10.5. Don't really want to push it too much higher than that. So for this game, I'm going to take Melbourne 139 margin at $2.15 at TAB. The reason being is Melbourne's defense should make them win this game. Also considered the Crows team total under 77.5, which I think it can go under that number, but it's fairly low for what were the number 1 attacking side last season and at home, but they've really struggled to put it together this season. But I think with this being a big round in Adelaide, the Crows are going to put in a decent performance, but I just don't think it's going to be enough to beat the Demons. So going with the Melbourne 1-39. Also consider the 1-24 margin for this matchup, paid just over $3. Feel like that's also a good option. I do think Melbourne win this game by that 2 to 3 goal mark. So that is something else worth considering. But Melbourne's defense should keep them in this game. Even if Adelaide do put in a really good performance, Melbourne last season only lost one game by 20 or more points. So no matter what, it's highly likely that the Demons are going to be in this game right to the fourth quarter, even if they are trailing slightly. And the way Adelaide's attack has been so far this season has been nothing like what it was last year. And unless that turns around dramatically, which is going to be really hard to do against Melbourne, who also get Stephen May back into the lineup as a key defender, it's very hard to see the Crows turning it around this week. Against like a lesser opponent or just a bad defensive side, I could see them doing it, but not against the Demons. So Melbourne 1-39, $2.15 is the play in the AFL. So those are the two that I'm going with for the games tonight. The Storm -5.5 and the Demons 1-39. Level staking all bets. The only time I increase the stakes is for my favorite bet of the round, which isn't in neither of these games, but I will cover that as I post the bets for the upcoming games for the rest of the round. So make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications so you're notified when those videos come out. I'm posting a video tonight for the games tomorrow, and also both in the AFL and the NRL. So make sure you don't miss out on those so you can keep following along all season long and making money betting on the football.